Clear vision is what many people take for granted until it becomes very difficult to see, read, drive, or even recognize faces from distance. Today on Time with Experts on Planto Media, we sit down with an optometrist who is going to break down everything we need to know about refractive errors. You are welcome once again, Doc.
Okay, thank you. Nice meeting you once again.
Alright, so it's always a pleasure having you and giving us more education content.
Okay, thank you very much.
Please, maybe somebody is a new person watching our interviews or our discussion with you, so kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Francis Reddy, optometrist with Healthy Eyes Eye Care and Optical Center at Cape Coast, Presbyopia.
Alright, thank you very much, Doc. So today we also want to discuss something very interesting that really affects a lot of individuals.
Okay.
So we want to, that is refractive errors.
Okay.
We want to tell us what is refractive errors. When we say refractive errors, what does that mean?
Okay, thank you very much once again for this opportunity. So when we talk about refractive error, it basically means that when you are looking at an object, the image doesn't fall at the right place in our eyes in order for us to see what.
Okay.
So that is basically about refractive error. Okay, what happens is that when you are looking at an object, the object will first pass through the cornea.
Okay.
And then it will pass through the lens within the eyeball. So it will pass through the cornea, then it will pass through the lens. Then the lens will focus it on the retina in order for you to see what. So the image is supposed to be a single image on the retina.
Okay.
So for example, if you are looking at this pen, the picture will enter the eye, get through the cornea, get through the lens, then the lens will position it on the retina for you to see. So if there is any alteration in this flow of image to the retina, that is when we say that you have developed refractive error.
Okay.
So when that happens, it's in one way or the other affects how well we can see, whether at far, at near, or at intermediate.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Doc. So okay. So right now we have understood that whenever there's a distraction between within the path that the object has to pass through before it gets to our retina, that's where you have the refractive error. So please, do you have specific types or all of them are the same?
So we have several types of them, but the main ones are number one, the short-sightedness or myopia, or near-sightedness. Then the second one is far-sightedness. So that one is hyperopia. And then the next one too is astigmatism. Astigmatism. So, and then we also have something like presbyopia. That one is not necessarily a refractive error, but it looks like part of the family. But it is not a true refractive error. So the main ones are the myopia, the hyperopia, and the astigmatism. So we'll take them one by one. So when it comes to myopia or short-sightedness, it basically means that when you are looking at an object and the image enters the eyes, it doesn't get to the retina. It suspends within the eyeball. So instead of the picture falling on the retina, it falls in front of it. So when that happens, it is just a shadow of it that gets to the retina. So the brain doesn't get a solid picture to process. And it mostly comes in when your eyeball is a bit longer. Sometimes there are some individuals, they have naturally longer eyeballs. You see that the eye that we see in our day-to-day activities is just 1/3 of the whole eyeball. The main one is inside the orbit. So it's just a small fraction of it that we see. So it can happen that behind what we see, the eyeball is very long. So when that happens, the image falls in front. Or sometimes too, the cornea is very curved. So it is steeply curved, and that can also cause the image to suspend within the eyeball.
Okay.
So when that happens, then we say that you have myopia or short-sightedness, and it affects in our vision by making objects which are far blurry.
Okay.
But those that are close or near becomes clear.
Okay.
That is why we say near-sightedness, near sight or short sight. It means that when the object is near, it will become clear, but when it is far, it becomes blurry.
Okay.
It's because when it is far, the object doesn't get to the retina. But when it is near, it is able to fall on the retina. Okay. Okay, so that is the first type, and it is the most common. Okay. Especially now with the digital era that we find ourselves in, everyone is using screens for prolonged hours. So myopia is now becoming more or less an epidemic in some countries. China, like this, they declared it as an epidemic because of the phones, the screens, and all that. So they are getting used to near-sightedness than the far one. Okay. Then the next type of refractive error is the far-sightedness or hyperopia. Okay. And basically with hyperopia, what it means is that when you are looking at this object and it enters the eyes, it goes behind the eyeball. It doesn't stop on the retina. Okay. So with myopia, it falls in front of the retina. With hyperopia, it falls behind. Okay. Okay. So when it falls behind, it means that it is just a shadow that lives on the retina for the brain to process. Therefore, it will affect your vision. And with far-sightedness, it affects our vision, especially for the near. Okay. So when it is far, it's clear, but when it gets closer, it becomes blurry. That is why we say far-sightedness in simple terms. Okay. So with far-sightedness, the image doesn't fall on the retina; it rather falls behind the retina. And with short-sightedness, the image falls in front of the retina. Okay. And the next one is astigmatism, or some say astigmatism. So with that one, what happens is that always we are supposed to get a single image on the retina. Okay. If you are looking at a single pen, you expect to see a single pen on the retina. On the retina. Okay. Anytime this pen splits into two, it becomes what we call astigmatism. Oh, okay. So there are instances where just after the pen, the image enters the eyes, then it becomes two. So one can form on the retina, the other one can suspend here. Okay. Sometimes too, the two can suspend within the retina. Sometimes too, the two can suspend behind the retina. So anytime there's two images forming, we say that you have astigmatism. Okay. And it mostly comes in when the cornea, which is the first refractive media, also the cornea is supposed to be kept evenly, vertical, horizontal, in all angles. Okay. But there are some people, the cornea is not evenly curved. Sometimes the vertical will be more steeper than the horizontal. Okay. So when that happens, it will split the light into two, and that will form two images. Okay. And with these individuals, they mostly see shadows around objects, whether far or near. Okay. They mostly get some of those. They see shadows and all that. So because they are seeing shadows and two images, it will confuse the brain. So they can start developing headaches. They can start getting eye pains and all that. Okay. So these are the three main refractive errors. So with short-sightedness, the image forms in front of the retina. With far-sightedness, the image forms behind the retina. Okay. And with astigmatism, the image splits into two. So that one, it can fall at anywhere. Okay. That is what we call astigmatism. Right. And I mentioned that presbyopia is like refractive error. It's not like refractive error. The main reason is that it affects near vision. Okay. But that one is age related. Oh, okay. It comes after you've gotten to 40, 42, 45. That is when it's setting. So with that, when you are reading, it becomes clear. Okay. Even though far, you can see very well. Okay. So unless you push the object further away from you before it becomes clear, when it gets closer, it blurs out.
Okay.
So that one is what we call the presbyopia.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think I've seen this a couple of times. A lot of people mentioning that they have issues with seeing objects near and then far away from them. That makes a lot of sense. So please, Doc, so all these things that you just explained, what are the causes? What really leads to this refractive errors?
Okay. So several things can cause that. Okay. But the first one is sometimes we are born with it. Okay. Right from that, you can be short-sighted, you can be far-sighted, you can have astigmatism. That has to do with how your eyeball develops. So that is the main cause. Congenital can come just from that. Then the second one too is family history. Okay. If your parents were using glasses, your siblings using glasses, then there's a high probability that you also wear glasses. Okay. Or if your mother is short-sighted, your father is short-sighted, then there's a very high probability that the children, either they will pick it from the mother or they will pick it from the father. Okay. So there's that kind of family history. That's why there are some families, almost everyone wears glasses. It's just hereditary aspect of it. And then the next one too happens to do with aging. Okay. Sometimes as you are aging, certain changes will begin to form within your eye, which will prevent the images from falling at the right places. Okay. That is why at first, most often you see the aged being the ones wearing glasses. Whenever they want to read, they will have to wear glasses. Whenever they want to see well as far, they will have to wear glasses. So aging is a major factor when it comes to that. And one other thing too is environmental factors. Okay. Especially with this new digital era where we are now exposed to smart devices like the phones, the tablets, the computers, and that one, it affects children more. Okay. Because children are at the developmental stages, so their visual system, their eyes, their brains, it is still forming, it is still developing. Okay. So if the child spends longer hours on the phones, on the screens, the brain will adjust more to near activities than the far ones. So that child can easily develop myopia, even though the child wasn't born with short-sightedness. That is why in certain countries, they often make the children study outdoors. Okay. So in a school, but they will come to the field, play around. It's just to reduce the near touch exposure. But if your child is either reading or playing games on the phone continuous, then their eyes will shift more towards near touch, and that can affect their vision. Okay. And sometimes diabetes can also affect our vision. If there's so much sugar in our blood, it can cause the images to be displaced from getting to the right places in our eyes.
Oh, okay. That's really detailed. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So right now that we know the causes of refractive errors, I want to know, so if right now I'm there, maybe I've been doing these courses, this thing that you just mentioned, how will I know that I have refractive error? What are some of the signs and symptoms?
Okay. So there are several signs and or there are several symptoms actually that can prompt you that there is something going on. And the first one is blurry vision. That is not being able to see well, whether at far or near or intermediate. So once you have a challenge with your vision, then it can be as a result of refractive error. That can be one of the causes. It is not the only cause, because there can be a disease that is causing your vision to be blurry. If it is not a disease, then it is refractive error. So once you see that your vision is becoming blurry, whether far or near, you need to come to the clinic. Aside that too, when you see shadows around objects, maybe someone is coming and it appears as if there's another person beside the person. Once you see some of these things, it can be as a result of refractive error. And sometimes to diplopia or seeing double. You are looking at this pen, but you see another pen beside it. So once you see some of these things, it can also be as a result of that. And sometimes too, if you always get irritated with light, as a car light kakrakra towing it, then you become disturbed, or when it's a strong light, small one, you become confused or anything, then it can be as a result of refractive error. And then also sometimes you can also be seeing colors, rainbow colors and all that. Once you see anything that has to do with your seeing or your vision, it can be as a result of refractive error. And sometimes if you get persistent headaches, you always get headaches. You've been to the general hospital, they've done the blood test, everything, and it's fine. Sometimes they will say it's migraine. They will put you on painkillers for so long, and still it is there. It can be as a result of refractive error. Because when refractive error sets in and you are not seeing well, you'll be straining, and that can cause headaches, frontal headaches, occipital headaches, and all that. So once you experience frequent headaches, which is not due to medical cause, it can be as a result of refractive error.
Alright, thank you very much, Doc. So let's say you have been able to diagnose someone, or somebody came to the clinic and it was diagnosed that you have a refractive error. What are some of the management treatment or management procedures you have for this patient?
So the good news is that if you have refractive error, it is not a sentence to poor vision for the rest of your life. There are several interventions. And the most common one that we all know is the glasses. What the glasses does is it moves the image to the retina.
So if it is in front,
in front, the lens will move it to the retina.
Right place.
If it is behind, it will bring it. If it has split into two, the lens will merge them together and come and put them on the retina for you to see. That is why sometimes you can have very bad vision. As soon as you wear the glasses, you see very clear. It's because as soon as you wear it, the glasses is able to move the image to the right place in order for you to see well. So the glasses is the simplest and the least expensive correction to that. So there's no need suffering, not being able to see people well and all that. Whilst you can just get glasses and then you are good to go. So aside glasses too, the next one is contact lenses. With contact lenses, they are very small, so you put it directly on the cornea. So it is something like this, then you put it on the cornea.
It will be there forever.
It will be there. You remove it when you are going to sleep. So when you are going to sleep, you remove it, you put it in a case, a solution. When you wake up in the morning, you put it back on. So that is what we call the contact lens. And it is called contact lens because it has direct contact with the eye or with the cornea. So you put it directly on the cornea. That is why we say contact lens. And that one is a little bit expensive than the glasses. And it comes with more responsibility. Because that one, because you are putting it on the cornea, you need to always ensure hygiene. You need to make sure that you don't sleep with it on and all that. So that is the second aspect. Then the third one is the surgical correction. We have surgeries that can be done to reshape the cornea to compensate for the error. So if the error is because the object is here, it's in front, you are going to use laser or surgical means to flatten the cornea so that it will push the image back. If the image is behind, we are going to make the cornea more stiff so that it will push the image to the retina. So that is using the laser surgery or the refractive surgery. So these are the three main approaches. Either we use the glasses to correct it, or we use the contact lens to put on the cornea, or we use laser, or we do surgery to reshape the cornea for you to see well.
Alright, thank you very much. So far we know we have learned a lot from what you just discussed or explained to us. Now I want to know what are some of the impacts that these refractive errors have on our daily lives. Okay. So I want us to first talk about work.
Okay, so refractive error has significant impact on our work.
Okay.
Assuming you are a tailor, someone brings a kente, which is very expensive, yes, that you should sew a garment for the person. And because you can't see well at near, when you are taking the measurement, instead of 20 centimeters, you saw it to be 27 centimeters. Then you go and write 27. Then you sew the dress and it becomes big on the person. You are going to lose. The person is going to become angry. He won't pay you, or he will say refund the material he gave you. So refractive
sometimes the tool that they have to
exactly to thread the machine. Yes. Some of them, they will have to call their children
to come and do it.
Remember when we were young, my parents, my dad for instance, will most often call oh me my home and this number because they cannot see well. But with just glasses, that issue will be solved. Okay. And if you are in the office, an accountant, and you can't see your numbers well, you are going to
1-0 can cause disaster.
Yeah, you can go to prison for some errors that could have been solved with common glasses. Okay. So vision, or good vision, is essential in all aspects of our life. And it will interest you to know that most of the road accidents is sometimes due to poor vision. Okay. Some of the drivers, they have very huge refractive errors, and they are supposed to drive with their glasses on. But what they mostly do is that when they are going for the license, because they will be made to read, then they will come to the clinic and get the glasses. Okay. Then when they go there, they are able to read everything, and they will give them a pass. Then from the license office, they remove their glasses, especially the commercial vehicles. Some of them believe that if they see them wearing glasses, people will think their eyes are not good, so they won't patronize their services. So how many times have you seen a taxi driver wearing glasses? Does it mean all of them they have good eyesight? No. Okay. It's because, and it leads to accidents. Because sometimes you see someone being overtaken and it doesn't make sense, because there's a car coming, but still the driver wants to do an overtaking. It's sometimes because they can't see the car that there's someone coming. So it can cause so many effects in our workplaces in all aspects.
Okay. So I want us to talk about how it impacts our daily life. I remember when I completed SHS, I wasn't wearing lens. Yeah. And one time I was walking in town and I met a friend. The person said I passed by her some time ago that I didn't wave at her, so she was very angry at me. She was saying it was intentional, but meanwhile I saw somebody going, but I didn't see that this is the person.
Exactly.
So what are with this? I mean, it's really affected our friendship.
It's relatable. It is something that we experience every day, and that is why some will say that when you see someone wearing glasses, you need to respect the person, because the person wants to see you well. The person doesn't want to see you crooked in any way. And it's a day-to-day thing. We need good vision to be able to see well, to be able to do all our tasks. Even as a doctor, you need good vision to be able to see well. I've once had a patient who was a surgeon, and he was having huge astigmatism. And after the correction, he was telling me something that I now understand why. I thought I'll be doing surgery, I'll be cutting some vessels I'm not supposed to cut. Because he was doing more of the micro surgeries. They use the screens and all that. And with astigmatism, it can make the vessels, tiny ones, appear too. So you might cut. And look at the effect something like that can cause to a patient. But with glasses, simple glasses, that case is solved. So it is important that all of us take our vision very well. And one thing is that sometimes you wouldn't know that you have refractive error. Someone will come to the clinic and say that, oh, I can see well. As for me, there, okay, I'm just coming for medication for the pain in my eye, I can see well. But you sit the person down and the person can read just 1 or 2 lines and the person is stuck, but the person in the mind feels that he can see well. So unless you come to the clinic, then we take you through the reading chart. The chart has been calibrated. We have measured it. The sizes are measured. It is not just any ABCD letters.
Okay.
It compensates for the distance we are using. So if you're able to read to a certain level, then we say that your vision is fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think the last but not the least is, about our school too, especially the children. What are some of the impact these refractive errors have on them?
Okay. So refractive error has significant impact on the studies of our children. The reason being that we know that in school, majority of the things the children learn is through their eyes or through their sight. Most of them is few that they use their other senses, but majority is through their sight. So if the child is not seeing well, it means that he or she is not going to be able to study well. Okay. And it can have so many impacts on the child. You would think the child is not good, it's dumb and all that, but it wouldn't be so. It would just be because the child cannot see well. Okay. So, and sometimes with some of the children, you will see that when it is break time, they are so happy, eager to go out. As soon as it's break over and they come to the classroom, they become dull, they become quiet. Sometimes it's because they cannot see well, even when reading. So they feel punished in a way, especially when they see that their friends are seeing so well and they cannot see well. It can have an effect on their studies as well. Okay. And sometimes too, if they have like the astigmatism, reading can also become challenging. They can be skipping letters. There's a child, you give him a storybook to read, he reads the first line, then skip to the third line. You would think that the child is lazy, he wants to finish early. No. Okay. Sometimes it's because of the confusion in the vision. That is why the child keeps skipping some of the letters.
Alright. Thank you very much, Doc. So, viewers, we are with Dr. Francis Redu, an optometrist with Healthy Eyes Eye Care and Optical Center. Please don't hesitate. Anytime you feel like you have any problem with regards to your eyesight, please kindly call the numbers on the screen for help. Doc, please, before we go, is there any advice for anybody who is experiencing some of the symptoms or some of the things that we have discussed, but sometimes they feel like, okay, oh, I'm okay because I can at least see to some point?
Okay, so the advice I will give you is don't stress yourself with bad vision. Don't manage bad vision when you can get clearer vision. Okay. And if you have any issues with your vision, visit the eye care center or the eye clinic for proper examination to be done. Okay. Some of us, we always want the cheap way out of things, so we'll just go to the roadside, we'll pick some glasses where, oh, this one is clear, then we take it. No, it can be clear, but it can cause your eyes to strain, and that can also have effects on your eyes. So once you have issues with your vision, you visit your eye care professionals. They will go through the procedures, get the right prescription, and then you are good to go. So there's no need to manage bad vision or poor vision. If you have any issue with your vision, just visit the eye clinic and then you'll be taken care of. And wearing glasses too doesn't mean that your eyes are bad. That is one thing I want us to diffuse our mind from. Most often people see those wearing glasses as they have bad eyes. It's not like that. If you have refractive error, it doesn't mean you have bad eyes. It basically means that the picture doesn't fall on the right place, and it is not a disease. If it is a disease, we will use medication. But because it is not a disease and it is just an optical defect, it's the glasses that we are going to use. So wearing it doesn't mean your eyes are bad. Someone can see so well, but the person will have glaucoma or have diabetic retinopathy and all that going on. So wearing glasses doesn't mean your eyes are bad. So let's feel free. If there's a need to use the glasses, you make sure you wear it so that you don't strain your eyes.
Right. Thank you very much for the insightful education. You are much grateful. I hope you enjoyed it up to this point. Bye.